Yes, welcome to all. Welcome to the new semester. Hi, everyone. I'm going to take your subjects as a statistical mathematic methods, and this is the lecture plan to complete this statistics methods or statistical methods. This subject is completely divided into 16 subtopics. It is of two credits, one plus one, that is one theory and one practical. There is a practical in this subject. And the theory part covers that is introduction, definition of statics, scopes and limitation of stats. I hope that in earlier classes you are familiar with the stats or you had drawn the bar diagrams, pie charts in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th classes, wherever you find some sort of need related to the statistics. So, in the very first, we are going to cover the topic that is introduction, that is definition of statistics. What is the use of statistics? What is the need of statistics? Limitation of statistics, advantage and disadvantage of statistics, and their scopes and limitations also. In the second subtopic, there is a measure of central tendency. Measure of central tendency means you want to calculate the arithmetic mean or the mean, mode, and median. I think you had already well aware about these terminologies, how to calculate the mean. The basic mean of mean or arithmetic mean is to calculate the average of the data. Whatever the data is provided to you, you need to calculate the average of that. That is called arithmetic mean. And the geometric mean, in the very same way or in the very same meaning, it is somewhat related to the arithmetic mean. Then the harmonic mean, the method is different somewhat. There is some slight change in the formulation to calculate the arithmetic mean, geometric mean, and harmonic mean. So these are known as the measures of central tendency. Again, in the third topic, that is mode and median, covered under the measure of central tendency. And what are the merits and demerits of above measures? Now, the fifth topic or subtopic is measure of dispersion, range, mean deviation, quartile deviation, and so on. And in the sixth topic, that is standard deviation, variance, and covariance, CV. In seventh topic, the PPT is visible to all of you? Hello? Yes, anyone can
Yes,
respond
sir.
me? Okay, okay. The seventh topic is correlation and regression. The correlation is going to be studied differently, and the regression is related to the correlation. In that, we are just going to study about the scatter diagram and Carl Pearson's correlation coefficient. There is a one coefficient given by some statistician that is named Carl Pearson's. In the eighth topic, regression lines and their fittings. In the ninth topic, we are going to cover the properties of regression coefficient. And the 10th one is the probability. Had you heard about the probability? What is the literal meaning of probability? Can anyone tell to me?
Possibility.
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 Possibility. Exactly. Probability is the chance of matter. That is, what is the possibility of the event to be happen? What are the chances of the particular event to happen? And I hope that many of you had studied this probability topic in the earlier classes. If you are not memorized, then for an example, if I'm saying that if I'm going to toss a coin, then what is the probability of getting head or tail? So if you remember that, how many events are there? Two events. One is head and second is tail. Either tail is going to become or either head is to be going to come after tossing a coin. So the occurrence of event is 1. So the probability is calculated like the occurrence of event upon or divided by total number of events. So a very simple example of probability is, what is the probability or the chance of getting a head or tail if you toss a coin is 1 by 2, that is 50%. Now in an 11th topic, that is test of significance, hypothesis, types of error, level of significance, and CR. And the 12th topic is SND test and students t-test for single mean. And the 13th topic is SND and t-test for difference between two means. 14th is pair t-test. These are some tests which is based on statics. And the 15th one is the significance test of correlation and regression coefficient. And the last, that is 16th topic, is chi-square test for testing independence of attributes and goodness of fit. So this is your lecture plan. I'll upload this lecture plan and the PPTs in your LMS after completing this topic. You can download the lecture plan and the syllabus from LMS. Okay. So we are starting with the first topic, that is introduction, definition, scopes, and limitations of stats. So unit first, introduction. Okay. These are the some reference or references, reference books which you can go for the reference. SRS Chandel, Handbook of Agriculture Statics by Achal Prakashan, Mandir, Kanpur. Second is GP Gupta. Again, the title of the book is Statistical Methods by Sultan Chand and Sons, New Delhi. And the third is BL Agarwal, Basic Statistics by Wiley Eastern, New Delhi. So these are the some reference books. You can refer these books for the questionnaires and the quiz. And if you are not able to get the topic thoroughly, you can take the help of these references. Now we are going to start this introduction. In the modern world of the computers and information technology, the importance of stats is very well recognized by all the disciplines. Okay, before starting it, if I'm going to ask from you people that what do you understand by the stat word or statistics? How many of you had listened this word statistics? Whatever the knowledge you had about the statistics, can anyone tell to me? Yes, anyone? स्टैटिस्टिक्स वर्ड सुना है कि नहीं सुना आप लोगों ने? किसी ने नहीं सुना? Yes, Himanshi, had you ever heard the word stats? दीपाली,
सुना है सर।
सुना है, क्या समझते हो उससे? What do you understand by this word?
सर इसका एग्जैक्ट मीनिंग नहीं पता।
एग्जैक्ट मीनिंग नहीं पता। कब यूज किया था आपने ये वर्ड? In which class you had started this statics word?
लास्ट टाइम 10th क्लास में।
10th class. That is almost 4 years before, isn't it? 4 5 years back. Yes, anybody else? Dipali?
Yes, sir. Sir, in statistics, the practice of science in which we collecting numerical data in large quantities.
The statement is almost right. That means you focus something on the data and you collect the data. But why we are collecting the data? First of all, if the data is with you, then why this is statics? Statics is a science which deals with collecting of data. It is okay, but what you do with that data? The question comes in your mind that what will you do with that data?
We
What is the
study
need
the
of? Yes, yes, yes,
we
yes.
study the data.
You studied the data. For what purpose? Actually, the data is needed to be collected for study purpose, that is okay. But for some prediction and analysis on that particular data which you had collected, you go for the analysis purpose, and by the analysis you can do some prediction on the basis of that data. That means forecasting the situation, we collect the data, we represent the data in the forms of statistical methods or statistical diagrams like bar diagram, like pie chart, like graph, or what we are doing, that we are representing that data in the forms of bar or diagrams or graph. So it is very easy to understand or to get the knowledge of the previous happenings, previous situation, and on the basis of that analysis and study, we can predict the further informations and the future planning. Okay, so this is the basic motive of studying the statistics. So in modern world of computers and information technology, the importance of statistics is very well recognized by all the disciplines. Statistics has originated as a science of statehood and found application slowly and steadily in the field of agriculture, in the field of economics, in the field of commerce, biology, medicine, industry, and planning, education, and so on. As on date, there is no other human walk of life where statistics cannot be applied. In all the field, we can apply the statistics. Okay, so statistics is a very important tool for analyzing the data and for future prediction. The word statistics conveys a variety of meaning to people in different walks of life. The word statistics come from the Italian word statista, meaning statement. The German word statistic means political state. The word statistics today refers to either quantitative information or a method of dealing with quantitative or qualitative information. Basically, the information is of two types. One is quantitative in nature and second is qualitative in nature. As the name refers that quantitative means something which is in quantity. For example, kilogram, liters. So they are defining the quantity. And if you are collecting the data on the basis of some quantity and you are just go to the statistics tools. So the word statistics today refers to either quantitative information because you are having the quantitative information, or you have a qualitative information. Okay. Statistics is defined as the collection, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of numerical data. This is the most authenticate definition of stats. Stats is defined as collection. That means you are going to collect what? Numerical data. You are going to present the numerical data. You are going to analyze the numerical data, and you are going to interpret on the basis of that numerical data. So statistics is defined as collection, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of numerical data. Statistics is the science and art of dealing with figures and facts. What are the various uses and application of statics? It facilitates comparison. When you go for the comparison, stats will facilitate you to go for the comparison easily or in a once. It simplifies the message of figure. It helps in formulating and testing hypothesis. It helps in prediction. So ultimately, we want to go for some prediction. So this is the basic use and application of stats. Statistics is the science which deals with the collection of data. The 5 points need to memorize to define the stats. Stats is the science which deals with collection of data, organization of data और क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ डेटा. अब ऐसा है कि आपको कलेक्शन करना है डेटा का, तो डेटा कलेक्ट करना है, तो डेटा कलेक्ट करने के भी देयर आर सो मेनी वेरियस मेथड्स टू कलेक्ट द डेटा. वी विल डिस्कस ईच एंड एवरी पॉइंट. नाउ आफ्टर कलेक्टिंग द डेटा, you need to organize that data, so you need to classify that data. So the classification is further divided or subdivided into many other categories. After that, the presentation of data. So there are various methods to present that data, either in the diagram form or either in the graphical form. Clear? And finally, we just go for the analysis of data and interpretation of data. Functions of stats. Stats simplifies complexity, present facts in definite form, helps in formulation of suitable policies, facilitates comparison, and helps in forecasting. Again, the same definition without slight change. Uses of stats. Stats has rewarded almost all spheres of human activities. Stats is useful in the administration of various states, industry, business, economics, research, workers, banking, insurance companies, etc. So, by the statement, you are coming to know that there is no field left where we cannot apply the statistics. Now, limitations of stats. These are the some limitations of stats. Stats theory or statistical theory can be applied only when there is a variability in the experimental material. First and most condition for applying the statistical theory, that under observation or under study, if you are going to do some survey, and the survey or the study, if there is no variation in that, then statistical theory cannot be applied. So where there is a variation in the experimental material, you can go for the statistical theory. Statistics deals with only aggregates or groups and not with individual objects. The second most condition is that statistics always deal with aggregates or groups. It cannot work for the individual objects. That means if you want to represent or want to apply the statistical theory for any individual identity or individual objects, then statistics won't work. Third is statistical results are not exact. That means after doing everything, when you are just going to interpret or analyze, and in the last, when you are just making some conclusion, the conclusion does not mean that they are perfect, they are exact. They are the assumptions based on the previous data which you had collected. Okay. And the last is the statistics can be misused. It can be misused somewhere to manipulate the data or to misguide someone by putting the wrong information. Okay. Now, first is collection of data. In the statistics, we first deal with collection of data. We just go for collecting the data first, and after that, try to present that data in some sort of manner So data can be collected by using sampling methods or experiments. Data can be collected by using sampling methods or experiments. Data, the information collected through census and surveys or in routine manner or other sources is called raw data. When the raw data are grouped into groups or classes, they are known as grouped data. So data is basically of two types. One is grouped data and second is ungrouped data. You come to know this difference by taking an example. As we move further, we take some examples. There you just learn what are the grouped data and what are the ungrouped data. Before reaching to there, we just come to know about that data is basically of two types. Data is basically of two types. 1 minute. Yes. Before reaching to that point, we have come to know that data is basically of two types. First is primary data, and the second one is secondary data. So, as the name itself defines that, what do you mean by this primary data? Primary data वो data होता है which is collected directly. The data which you are collected or by the means in a very direct manner, that is called primary data. The data which is collected by actual observations or measurements or count is called primary data. So there are 5 methods of collecting the primary data. Just note it down. These are the 5 basic methods to collect the primary data. Primary data is collected in any one of the following methods. First is direct personal interviews. That is man to man or direct to direct. If you are just moving on a very survey, on any survey, and you are collecting the purpose to collect the data, so you have to take the personal interviews or personal information from a person, individual person. That is called direct personal interviews. Second is indirect oral interviews. Indirect oral interviews means that you are collecting the data by third party sources, and that is called indirect data. Third is the information from the correspondents. That means again it is the third party data. You are collecting the data through the correspondence by the third party, and you get the information and present the data and do the statistical theory. Fourth one is mailed questionnaire method. This is, at the name simplifies that, mailed questionnaire method. कई बार आप लोगों ने देखा होगा एक सर्वे टाइप होता है, some questions are to be mailed and we need to answer that questions, and on the basis of that response recorded, they just assume or maintain some records or data, and on the basis of that data they are applying the statistical theory to predict the situation. The fifth is schedules sent through the enumerators. That is again the similar to fourth one, but it is somewhat different. Instead of electronic media, you are scheduling some schedules and you send them in different regions to collect or gather the data. Okay. Now we will study each method of collecting the data individually. First, direct personal interviews. Direct personal interviews, the person from whom informations are collected are known as informants or respondents. The investigator personally meets them and asks questions to gather the necessary information. What are the merits of this method? What are the merits of this direct personal interview method? The collected informations are likely to be uniform and accurate. Obviously, it is uniform and accurate because you are collecting the data man to man and you are collecting it very personally. So it is more likely to be uniform and accurate. The investigator is there to clear the doubts of the informants. Second merit is people willingly supply information because they are approached personally. Hence, more response is noticed in this method. than in other method. So just make a note of it. Make a note of this. More response is noticed in this method because you are personally meet to the persons and getting or gathering the information from them. The limitations, it is likely to be very costly, or limitations, we cannot say it is limitation. These are the demerits or disadvantages of the direct personal interview method for collecting the data. It is likely to be very costly and time consuming. If the number of persons to be interviewed is large and the persons are spread over a wide area, it is very obvious that if the number of persons are spread over a very wide area, and if a interviewer goes person to person to every man and collecting the data, so it is very obvious that it is time consuming. Secondly, it is very costly. Okay, so this is the demerit or disadvantage of direct personal interview method. Second is indirect oral interview. Indirect oral interview, that means you are collecting the data from the third parties. Or who are the third parties? They can be neighbor, they can be eyewitnesses, they can be friends, or anyone else who is not indirect to that first person who are for whom we are asking the information. Okay, so under this method, the investigator contacts witnesses or neighbors or friends or some other third parties who are capable of supplying the necessary information. अब आपको मालूम चला इसमें क्या होता है कि जैसे हम इनडायरेक्ट ओरल इंटरव्यू करेंगे और इनडायरेक्ट ओरल इंटरव्यू के थ्रू हम कोई डेटा कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं, तो वी आर आस्किंग द इंफॉर्मेशन ऑफ समबडी एल्स फ्रॉम द थर्ड पार्टी. तो थर्ड पार्टी हमें प्रॉपर इंफॉर्मेशन उसका प्रोवाइड नहीं करेंगे. लिटिल बिट देयर इज सम डिस्टॉर्शन इन दैट इंफॉर्मेशन. तो इसके मेरिट्स क्या है और डीमेरिट्स क्या है? Merits: for almost all the surveys of this kind, the informants like within a closed area and the time and the cost are less. For certain survey, this is the only method available. And the demerits are the information obtained by this method is not very reliable. I had told you that it is in somewhat distorted from the informants, and the person who conducts the survey easily distort the truth. Okay. The third method for collecting the data is information from correspondence. The investigator appoints local agents or correspondents in different places and compiles the information sent by them. तो इसमें क्या होता है कि suppose if I need to gather the information from different states or different districts or different tehsils, so what should I do? I appoint some local agents or correspondents in the different places. So again, it is costlier, but less costly than the direct method. And I appoint the local agents, they will send me the detail or information as a data what I am going to ask. Okay. तो इसके कुछ merits and demerits हैं. Merits are for certain kinds of primary data collection. This is the only method available. This method is very cheap and expeditious. The quality of data collected is also good due to long experience of the local representatives. These are the merits. And the demerit is if someone is taking casual. So local agents whom I had appointed and the correspondents are not likely to be serious and careful some of the time. So this is the demerit for collecting the information from correspondent. Okay. Yes, all of you getting it or not?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
हाँ, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you have any doubt, you just can raise your query. Okay. Make the class interactive. Wherever you find any doubt, if you are not getting it, any statement or any sense of the meaning, you just can ask your query. We will discuss it. Okay. The fourth method is mail questionnaire method. Under this method, a list of questions is prepared and is sent to all the informants by post. The list of questions is technically called questionnaire. The merits, it is relatively cheap. It is preferable when the informants are spread over a wide area. It is fast if the informants respond duly. Again, it is a merit if you are responding fast. If you are not responding, if you are taking casual, then it comes under the demerit. So the demerits and limitations, where the informants are illiterate, this method cannot be adopted, because you are asking some questionnaire method. You are going to mail the questionnaire and asking the information, and the person in front of you is not literate and they are illiterate people, then they are not going to give the response of your mail questionnaire, and your survey is not going to complete. Okay, so this is the limitation or demerit. Second is that it is possible that some of the persons who receive the questionnaire do not return them. Their action is known as non-response. Some of the time, the literate person receive the questionnaires, but they don't show any interest in returning them or submitting them back. So this method is almost won't work. Okay, and the last method to collect the data is schedules sent through the enumerators. Under this method, enumerators or interviewers take the schedules, meet the informants, and fill in their reply. It is just similar to the direct collecting method. Okay, a schedule is filled by the interviewer in a face-to-face situation with the informant. The merits, it can be adopted even if the informants are illiterate. Non-response is almost nil, as the enumerators or interviewers go personally and contact the informants. The informations collected are reliable. The enumerators can be properly trained for the same. Now the same thing or same demerits which is done in the direct collecting method, it is costliest method. Extensive training is to be given to the enumerators or interviewers for collecting correct and uniform information. So this is all about the primary data. Now we are going to start with secondary data. Anyone having any query related to the primary data? Yes, anybody who is not getting it? Should I move further? बोलो भाई.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
नींद आ रही दिखती मुझे लग रहा. Many of you are sleeping. Anyway, this is all about the theory part, and I think there is no query in this theory. You can go through the theory by yourself and prepare yourself, but listen it carefully, because at the end of this PPT I'm going to ask the questions from you people, so listen it very careful. Now the secondary data, the data which are compiled from the records or others, is called secondary data. The data collected by an individual or his agents is primary data for him and secondary data for all others. The secondary data are less expensive, but it may not give all the necessary information. Secondary data can be compiled either from published sources and from unpublished sources. Sources of published data. What are the various sources of published data providing the secondary information or secondary data? That is official publication of the central, state and local governments. What are the official publication in a routine manner by the state government, the central government and the local governments? They are the secondary source of data. Second is reports of committees and commissions. Whatever the reports are submitted as a record, they are again referred to as a secondary data. Publications brought about by research workers and educational associations. In education associations or the researchers, they need to publish their papers on the work, on the thesis, on the topic which they are doing the research. They got published in some journals, and those publications published in their journals, and they are means of secondary data. Trade and technical journals, report and publications of trade associations, chambers of commerce, bank, etc. Official publications of foreign governments or international bodies like UNO, UNESCO, etc. So basically, anything which is already published or submitted as a record, that is called sources of published data. Sources of unpublished data. Some data are recorded or kept as in ledgers, but they are not published. If you all see that all statistical data are not published, for example, at the village level, officials maintain records regarding area under the crop production, etc. They collect details for administrative purposes. Similarly, details collected by private organizations regarding persons, profits, sales, etc. become secondary data and are used in certain surveys. So these are the means of unpublished data or secondary data from the unpublished data. Characteristic of secondary data. The secondary data possess the following characteristics. They should be reliable, adequate, suitable, accurate, complete and consistent. Now variables. Variability is a common characteristic in biological science. A quantitative or qualitative characteristic that varies from observation to observation in the same group is called a variable. We had already discussed that something which is in vary in accordance to time, that is called variable quantity. Okay, and the quantity associated that variable quantity is known as variables. So this is the tabular difference between primary and secondary data. For your quick review, primary and secondary data differentiate on the basis of original data, suitability, time and labor, and precautions. So on the basis of original data, the primary data are original because the investigation himself collects them. Secondary data are not original since the investigator make use of the other agencies. This is the first difference based on original data. Second criteria is suitability. If these data are collected accurately and systematically, their suitability will be very positive. Whereas in secondary data, these might or might not suit the objects of inquiry. Third, on the basis of time and labor criteria, these data involves large expenses in terms of money, time and manpower. Whereas in secondary data, the data are relatively less costly. Precautions, in terms of precaution, primary data don't need any great precaution while using these data because you had directly collected that data. Whereas in the secondary, data, these should be used with great care and caution. Okay. So this is all about the primary and secondary data. Now, quantitative data, the basis of classification is according to the difference in quantity. In case of quantitative variables, the observations are made in terms of kilograms, liters, centimeters, meters, etc. Example, weight of seeds, heights of plants. Okay. Qualitative data, when the observations are made with respect to quality, is called qualitative data. Example, crop varieties, shape of seeds, soil type. The qualitative variables are termed as attributes. Just note it down. The qualitative variables are termed as attributes. Now, there is a further classification of data. We had discussed the types of data. Now the data is classified into four major classification, which is based on the geography, which is based on the chronology, which is based on the quality, which is based on the quantity. So the classification is the process of arranging data into groups or classes according to the common characteristics possessed by the individual items. Data can be classified on the basis of one or more of the following kinds, namely geographical, chronological, quality, and quantity. Okay. So, on the basis of geographical classification or spatial classification, some data can be classified area-wise, such as states, towns, etc. Data on area under crop in India can be classified as shown in below table. Suppose if we want to represent a data of a crop in India, so central India में what is the area in hectares? In west zone, in north zone, in east zone, in south zone. That is on the geographical basis. Okay. Now, chronological or temporal or historical classification. Chronological means on the basis of time. On the basis of time sequence, when you arrange the data, that is known as the chronological classification. Some data can be classified on the basis of time and arranged chronological or historically. Data on production of food grain, for example, data on production of food grains in India can be classified as shown below. In 1991, how many tons? In 91-92, how many tons? In 92-93, how many tons? 93-94, and so on. So this is the chronological classification of data. Now, qualitative classification of data. That means you're talking about the quality. Some data can be classified on the basis of attributes or characteristics. The number, for example, the number of farmers based on their land holdings can be given as follows. We divide the farmer in three quality. One is the category of large farmers, second is the medium farmers, or the last one is the marginal farmers. So number of marginal farmers is 907, medium farmers are 1041, large farmers who works on a very large scale, having stakeholders of very big lands, are 1948, and the total is 386996. So in this way, the qualitative classification can be done. Now, qualitative classification can be of following two types. First is simple classification, and second is manifold classification. Simple classification, this is based on only one quality. If you are classified the data on single quality, then that is called simple classification under the qualitative classification. Suppose if we are going to discuss about the cultivable land. Cultivable land under two categories. One is which is based on rain feed, and second which is based on irrigated method. Similarly, education level of farmers. We divide the education level of farmers, that is we are asking only one quality. So how many are the literates and how many are illiterates? Okay, so this is the simple classification. In manifold classification, this is based on more than one quality. Number of farms, the main heading is number of farms. How many farms are based on rain fed, how many farms are based on irrigated. After that, rain fed, how many rain feds are producing the food crops, how many rain feds are producing the vegetables and others, how many or what is the area of irrigated who are producing food crops, and irrigated who are producing vegetables and others. Okay, so this is the manifold classification under the qualitative classification. Now quantitative classification. Some data can be classified in terms of magnitude. The data on land holdings by farmers in a block. Quantitative classification is based on the land holding, which is the variable in this example. So the land holding in hectares less than 1 to 2, 2 to 5, or greater than 5 hectares. How many farmers are having less than 1 hectare of land? 442. 1 to 2 hectares, 908 farmers are there. Between 2 to 5 hectares, 471 farmers are there. And greater than 5 hectares, 124 farmers are there. And the total is 1945. Okay. So this is the quantity measurement or the quantitative classification of data. You just collect the data, do the survey based on quantitative quantity. Now we come to the quiz. I'm asking the question and you need to give the response which we had covered till to now. A simple table contains data on first option 2 characteristics, several characteristics, 1 characteristics, 3 characteristics. 1, 2, 3 और several characteristics. कौन सा ऑप्शन इसमें होगा? A simple table. I am talking about simple table. A simple table contains data on 1 characteristic, 2 or 3 or several characteristics are there. Yes, answer please. Yes, Soumya.
Yes, sir.
Answer the quiz. Question number first is in front of you. Can you answer me the quiz?
What's the question?
The question is a simple table contains data. Simple table contains data on 2 characteristics, several characteristics, 1 characteristic, or 3 characteristics. Yes, Munna. Munna Kumar.
Also, single characteristic.
Single characteristics. Right answer. Because we are talking about the simple table, and simple table contains the data based on 1 characteristics. That is single characteristic. Okay. Question number second, when the collected data is grouped with reference to time, when the collected data is grouped with reference to time, we have, हमने अभी just last में ही complete किया इसको, we have quantitative classification, qualitative classification, geographical classification, or chronological classification. If the data is grouped with chronological classification, right answer. Third question, geographical classification means classification of data according to region. True or false? Geographical classification है, उसका मतलब ये है कि true, right? Geographical classification means classification of data according to the region. It's a true statement. An arrangement of data into rows and columns is known as tabulation. Is it true or false? When you are arranging the data into rows and columns, it is known as tabulation or something else. True or false?
So
Yes. Munna? मुन्ना कुमार, आर यू
Yes,
देयर?
sir.
आंसर बताओ बेटा, समझ में आया कि नहीं आया आपको जितना पढ़ा है अभी तक मैंने?
I guess, sir.
आ गया?
Yes, sir.
इसका आंसर बताओ. एन अरेंजमेंट ऑफ डेटा इनटू रोज एंड कॉलम्स इज नोन एज टैबुलेशन. क्या ये ट्रू है या फॉल्स है?
True है.
ट्रू. बिल्कुल सही है आपका आंसर. योर आंसर इज ऑल परफेक्टली राइट. नाउ डेटा ऑन यील्ड is quantitative variable. It is true or false? Data on production is quantitative or qualitative? अगर मैंने बोला है data on yield is quantitative variable, the statement is true or false?
true.
True. Right answer. Now the sixth question is, qualitative variables are also called as attributes. This is true or false? The statement is true or false? Qualitative variables are also called as attributes. I had told you in the PPT that qualitative variables can be called as attributes. So this is true statement, okay? And you just note down the 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th question. Define primary and secondary data. You had gone through the PPT and I will upload it on your LMS portal. You can also go through that and try to maintain in a records. Give the advantage of tabulation. What are the advantage of tabulation? When you are just making that table, what are the advantage of that? Write a detailed note on the types of classification of data. We had completed all type of classification. So write a detailed note on the types of classification. And the last question, what are the essential characteristics of good table? If you are drawing a table on the basis of data, so what are the essential characteristics you need to keep in your mind? You need to keep in your mind for good table. Okay? I will ask the solution in the next class. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir. सर ये क्वेश्चंस को खुद से लिख कर आपको मेल करना है या फिर बस खुद को
नहीं.
देख लेना है ये?
You have to just note it down in your notebook. You have to note it down in your notebook. The solutions, the question 7, 8, 9, 10 are not with, they are without the solution. So you have to write the answer in a proper way based on your information. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So these are the answer of multiple choice and true and false. Now we move to the representation of data. After completing the classification of data, this is the most important topic, that is representation of data. How would you like to represent the data? So data is going to be represented in two broad categories. One is diagrammatic representation of data and second is graphical representation. And the subcategory of diagrammatic representation of data is bar diagrams, and bar diagrams is of 4 further subcategories. And the second is the pie chart, or pie chart means that is a circular type of chart, or in the form of circle you are going to represent your data. So the diagrammatic representation of data is represented in the form of diagrams, okay, whereas graphical representation is in the form of graph. So various forms of graph are to be produced. The types are histogram, frequency polygon, frequency curve, okay. So these are the basic methods for representation of data. So this is all about for today's class. Just wait a minute.